Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by shipping cheap parts around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. Skip the tariff and snag yourself American-made clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Fractured his foot in Saturday's preseason game at Arizona.
Hey you, looking to upgrade your ride? Alabama One has you covered with auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR. Up to $500 cash back, and the best part, no payments for 90 days. That's right. Buy or refinance and keep the cash in your pocket while you drive the ride you want. But hurry, this limited time offer ends October the 31st. You can apply today at alabama1.org or by calling 1-800-225-0110. Once again, auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR, up to $500 cash back, and no payments for 90 days. Remember, Alabama One together. It's time for another great week of preview shows right here on the Stingray Show. And guys, I've got to ask, is it time to call the Hogs? Not just yet. However, this is the Arkansas Preview Show, as we are going to be joined by a writer from hogsports.com to do a deep dive into the 6th season for Sam Pittman at Arkansas and how much pressure is on him to win and win now. This is the Arkansas Preview Show right now on the Stingray Show.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah, but then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, we want to welcome you inside another edition of the Stingray Show, and this is the Arkansas Preview Show as Sam Pittman enters his 6th season up on the hill, as they say in Fayetteville. And last year, they finished with a record of 7-6. They've done that a couple of times under Sam Pittman, but is that enough for the Arkansas faithful? Heath, give me your thoughts briefly on Arkansas going into this season.
Well, real quick, last season, we all thought Sam Pittman would be the coach to be fired first.
Yep.
And that, I believe, if I remember correctly, that Thursday night game, they came out smoking red hot, put up a ton of points. Arkansas found some offense last year. So with that, Sam Pittman teams every year seem to be a little bit of a wild card team.
Yeah.
We don't know. So They've lost running backs in the portal. They've got running backs to come in from the portal. They've lost quarterbacks in the portal. They've had quarterbacks come in through the portal.
Yep.
And, it seems that it's been a step up each time.
Right.
Can Sam Pittman continue that? We're going to have to find out. So with that, do we all love Sam Pittman? Absolutely.
Yes.
Is Sam going to make it this year? I think he will, but we don't know.
And Heath, this will be the second consecutive season of Talon Green in the Bobby Petrino offense. How will he do in the second year of the offense? We will just have to find out. So to break down the Hogs, we are about to bring on Kevin Bohanna, who is a writer for hogsports.com. Kevin, how are things with you up in Northwest Arkansas?
Hey, the weather's been great so far for preseason practice. I had our first major scrimmage. It was closed to the media, but Sam Pittman met with everybody afterwards and gave everybody a rundown. But so far, so good. Injuries have been limited. Just still a lot of unknown. And I think that's the biggest, mantra going into the season with so many new faces on the offensive side of the ball, especially at the skill positions. How will this Bobby Petrino offense look? Early returns are pretty good so far.
Now, before we dive into Arkansas and this season, there is a rarity there for Arkansas. There is a wide receiver by the name of Monte Harrison, who just turned 30 years old this past Sunday and has been playing in Major League Baseball over the last decade because he was drafted in the 2014 Major League Baseball draft by the Milwaukee Brewers and then played for the Miami Marlins and the Los Angeles Angels. Talk about Monte for a second, please.
Yeah, this is Monte's second year on the roster. Very athletic. He's 6'3", 230. He played center field and got all the way to the show. He got to the MLB rank. So he brought in a work ethic that a lot of these young guys really couldn't, understand, having been a professional athlete. So he's been that veteran presence in the room. I believe he'll work into the rotation this year as one of the outside receivers, and we'll just see how it goes from there. He's looked good in practice so far. He looks like a grown man out there for sure.
Do the players call him something funny like Pops or Old Man or Grandpa?
Yeah, Pop. Yeah, Pops has been thrown around a little bit. No Grandpa, because he's as I said, he's really athletic and he can put them in their place really quick. You really don't see a difference in terms of him losing a step. That's the big thing. But he's a lot of fun, a really good interview as well.
Looking at this Arkansas team, last year when they played any team that had less talent than them, it was a blowout. Arkansas blew them out. Whenever Arkansas played someone that was just a tad bit talented than them, it didn't fare so well. And it was extremes on both sides. It seemed like that either they were winning by a ton or losing by a ton. Are we going to see a little bit more consistency of that, or are we going to see Arkansas take the next step, which I do think will happen under Sam Pittman this year?
That's been the biggest focus so far in the preseason. With their first period, when they get done stretching, they work on turnover drills, whether it be offense or defense. They work on defense getting the ball back, offense keeping the ball. How can they get the ball in their offense's hands more times than the opponent? That's been the prime focus. So they spend a good 20 minutes on that before they move into individual groups or what we call fastball, which is 11 on 11 up and down the field. So they are focusing on it. They figured they needed to make a change. They made a change in the weight room this summer. Their 8-week cycle, they spent more time in the weight room. This will be the biggest Arkansas team that they've had. Their cornerbacks, they'll roll out there 6'2", 195, 200. The offensive line, they've always been big under Sam Pittman, but they're agile, they're athletic, but they're all going to be big. The running backs are big. The outside receivers are going to be 6'2", 200 pounds. So they're bigger, they're faster. Now they just got to play more consistent, like you said, Heath. That's always been the question. And Tennessee, they jumped up and got them last year. They're going to have to steal a road game, whether it be at Ole Miss, Texas, LSU. They're going to have to steal one on the road this year if they want to make a bowl game.
So, Kevin, if you would, 7-6 is not good enough for the expectation up there at Arkansas. Talk about how much pressure and how much on the hot seat Sam Pittman is going into the 25 season.
And he brought that up at SEC Media Days, and he's been very upfront and transparent about it. He said, I know everybody writes about it. I can only take care of everything that's in-house right now. So I think they have done the best job possible of addressing the issues, okay? There's a lot of ego that goes around with NIL and portal and, okay, I'm making this much. That was the big deal with KJ Jefferson. You know, KJ was getting $750,000 driving around in a new Corvette, things like that. So they've done their best to cut out that stuff. You saw the Madden Amaliva situation where he came in and then bounced, you know, went to UCLA with his brother. Okay. Arkansas went after him for some NIL money. So they're trying to cut down on a lot of that and take the path of what Dave Van Horn has done with the baseball program. Okay. Van Horn doesn't throw money at everybody. They just don't. They want to get good guys that come in and are good chemistry, good locker room guys. So in the offseason, the players spend a lot of time with each other, and they have a good cohesiveness that really hasn't been seen over the past 2 or 3 years. I think that will lead to at least one unexpected win this season.
So, Kevin, hold that thought. We are up against our first break here on the Stingray Show, and when we come back with you, we are going to dive into the quarterback position and especially Taylon Green in year number 2 under the Bobby Petrino offense. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. The Arkansas Preview Show will return right after this. Residents of Tuscaloosa, are you guys upsizing, downsizing, looking for college housing, or even relocating for your job right here to Tuscaloosa? If that's the case, then you need to contact Celeste Hagler, owner and operator of First Class Real Estate South Home Group right here in Tuscaloosa. She can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Reach out to Celeste again at 205-861-5698 and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. It's dinner time, West Alabama, and if you are craving fried catfish with tartar sauce on a grilled bun, or maybe even a fried chicken tender with Swiss cheese, grilled onions, and an avocado spread on French bread, that sandwich is called the Jose, then you need to check out the Coker Market, which is located at the four-way intersection just off County Road 140 in Coker, Alabama. Their hours of operation is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. Go by and check out the Coker Market off of County Road 140 there in Coker, Alabama for community goods and wonderful barbecue. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Find Tide on Twitter at Tide109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
Welcome back inside the Arkansas Preview Show. My guest this evening is Kevin Bohanna, writer for hogsports.com. Before the break, we were talking about the pressure to win for Sam Pittman up there at Arkansas. Now let's dive into the quarterback room, and Talon Green returns for his second year under the Bobby Petrino offense. And Kevin, when you look at Talon Green, where would you like to see him take the next step as an Arkansas quarterback?
The biggest thing is his pre-snap reads and decision-making. Obviously, he's athletic. Obviously, we know he can run. He has to be able to go to the second and third receiver, just like it's clockwork. That will expand the Bobby Petrino offense. They've gotten better in the slot receiver position to where they'll be able to stretch the field horizontally and vertically. So they've gotten faster at that position. Green spent a lot of time with the receivers over the summer, which every quarterback should. He worked at the Manning Passing Academy. He did all the things that you're supposed to do to get better. We have evidence at Arkansas what a quarterback can do in their second year under Bobby Petrino, whether it be Ryan Mallett or Tyler Wilson. Both those guys had outstanding careers at Arkansas, and Talon put up good numbers last year. The problem with Talon last year, after the Tennessee game, he just wasn't the same. He took that hit to the knee. He didn't finish the game, and then he was just never the same. He put up over 400 yards offense passing in the bowl game. That was huge. He needed to do that. So that gained a lot of confidence going into this season. Pre-snap reads, that has been the biggest focal point in the offseason, and just expanding the playbook.
Kevin, looking at Arkansas last year and looking at Petrino coming back in and making all these things happen, I was impressed of how they were doing things. I know the old Petrino had a big thing during practice that he would tell the defense, this is when he was head coach, hey, don't hit the players, don't break up the passes, let them complete it, just break down on them, things like that. He wanted to build the confidence and kind of get continuity and get things flowing during the practice week leading up to the game. Is it still like that? Is Sam Pittman, kind of letting him run that with offenses like, hey, let him complete the pass. Hey, let him do this. Don't take a shot on my receivers. Is he still doing that, or has that changed a little bit for Petrino at practice?
It's really changed a little bit, and I think that has forced the issue. That's lessened the learning curve for these guys. So they're able to see right away, okay, this was the mistake, this was the bad read, this was the wrong read. They still have the opportunities to do it on air or Skelly, which is 7-on-7 or anything like that. But anytime they go live, they're going full live. So they've done a little bit more tackling, and I think they've made it a point of emphasis that, look, the only way linebackers can move up the depth chart is if they tackle, if they do it on special teams or in live situations. So the offensive and defensive lines, they went head-to-head the first time they got on shells. They got on shoulder pads. They were going into trenches one-on-one. So I think they've done a really good job of getting their bodies acclimated to that. And it's helped with the learning curve of making the right reads for Talon, especially the receivers as well. Bob Petrino's offense is built off of option routes and where the defensive backs allow you to sit in a zone. So for every giving pass concept there could be 3 different routes for a receiver. So they have to get used to that early on. If you're only doing it on air, you don't get any better.
So, Kevin, Arkansas is known over the history of having amazing running backs such as Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and then here more recently, Raheem Rocket Sanders, who unfortunately transferred to South Carolina. How does the running back room look for Arkansas this season?
Yeah, you got to go back to New Mexico State last year to find out who the guy is. Mike Washington Jr., Arkansas fans are learning his name very quickly. On the scrimmage on Saturday, he had a 62-yard touchdown catch. Well, he had a reception. It was the second play of the game. Took a little pass, took it 62 yards, and then scored a play later from 4 yards out. Then he had a 40-yard touchdown run, and then he had a couple more touchdown runs later in the scrimmage. He's fast. He's 6'2", 220. He was one of the summer captains Now, this is a transfer portal guy that got named to be a summer captain, and it's based on their work. They had competitions throughout the summer, and the guys with the most points, he was one of the 10 captains this summer. So he came in, and it has pushed Braylon Russell, a guy that went into the portal, came back out, went back in, came back out, to be better. So it's made the running back room better. Then they got Rodney Hill back there, who came from Florida State. He's kind of the jitterbug back. He had a little over 6 yards of carry, limited action, a little under 200 yards last year. And then A.J. Green came back as a walk-on from Oklahoma State. So they got a good room, but Mike Washington, he's going to be the guy. And he could easily be a 1,300-yard back this season.
Kevin, I'm going to make a funny joke here. Feel free to laugh and poke fun at it at any way you want to from any side.
Yep.
But I live outside the Memphis area, and Memphis Sports Talk Radio has been crying since 1991 that Arkansas has not returned their home game since 1991. That's been a while. That's been over 30 years. I mean, it's insane to think about. We're going on 34 years where Arkansas refused to give Memphis back their home game. And this year, fourth game of the season at Memphis, which I think is kind of funny because you're at Ole Miss the week before and they're only 45 minutes apart. They might as well just stick around and even go back. But with that being said, have you heard the administration talk about this? Anything from the administrative side or the fan side or message boards talking about this Memphis game? And what was the delay? Because Memphis has had some horrific coaches and teams in the last 34 years. Absolutely horrific. And now they're kind of on an uptick. Why did Arkansas decide to pay this game back from 1991?
You can ask the question, why did they decide to play USC on the road in 2005? And why did they ask for a return game in 06? So, or Notre Dame. Notre Dame's on the schedule this year. I know that was pushed back from 2020, but they're going to have them in Fayetteville this year, and that's the week after Memphis. So, and I have a lot of ties to the Memphis area, having gone to school over there. I went to Rhodes for a couple of years, football and baseball over there. So very familiar with the area. Arkansas fans are familiar because they've been to the Liberty Bowl like 9 times out of the last 10 years. I joke, of course, but, that's, something. And, back in the early 90s when Memphis and Arkansas was playing, Memphis would beat Arkansas. I mean, that was, not surprising. So, there was, Memphis had a former Arkansan, as their head coach, that went to UCA, and then he moved on to Florida State.
Right.
So, that was a lot of fun to watch. That, Memphis offenses, past few years, I think it'll be a really good test for Arkansas. They have to come out and play. Heath, like you mentioned, they have to play above their weight class. If they go down, they always kind of play their competition, and if it's too much for them, they just fold up. They haven't shown the testicular fortitude or intestinal fortitude, as I like to say. So they have to just come out and play. That's the biggest thing. So I'm looking forward to that game. Yes, the Liberty Bowl, it has a special meaning. It's, one of the oldest stadiums in the South. They've given it a little facelift. That's a good thing. So Arkansas fans will be able to pack it out over there for sure.
I don't know if all the grandstands built back. I haven't driven by there in a couple of months, but they played last year without majority of the grandstand on the home side, which is
there's like
crazy.
20,000 empty seats. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was like on the 50-yard line. It was prime seating. It was crazy.
So, Kevin, hold that thought because we were up against another break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into the schedule and then get to the defense. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. The Arkansas Preview Show will return right after this. Hey, you, looking to upgrade your ride? Alabama One has you covered with auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR, up to $500 cash back, and the best part, no payments for 90 days. That's right. Buy or refinance and keep the cash in your pocket while you drive the ride you want. But hurry. This limited time offer ends October the 31st. You can apply today at alabama1.org or by calling 1-800-225-0110. Once again, auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR, up to $500 cash back, and no payments for 90 days. Remember, Alabama One together. The deals at South's Finest Meats just keep getting better and better, and this week through August the 12th, they have a great deal on Ziegler products, including 12 ounces of Southern-style smoked sausage, 2 for $6, 12 ounces of thick or regular sliced bologna, 2 for $5, 12 ounces of Jumbo Frank hot dogs, 2 for $5, or 24 ounces of Stack Pack sliced bacon, $7.98. They also have great deals on beef, chicken, and fish this week that run through August the 12th. Go by there today and check out some of the amazing deals at South's Finest Meats.
Alabama Crimson Tide lives right here. Down to the pylon. Touchdown, Alabama. On Tide 100.9.
Welcome back, SEC fans. You're listening to the Stingray Show here on Tide 100.9. Stephen Ray along with Heath Hopkins, and joining us today is Kevin Bohannon, and we're talking about the Arkansas Razorbacks as we head into the 2025 SEC football season. And Kevin, right before we went to break, we were talking about the Memphis game, non-conference game, but just to go over the non-conference games, you even mentioned Notre Dame right before we headed to commercial. You start the season off with Alabama A&M. Then, second week of the season, you're playing Arkansas State, which you've never played before, and that's a big story. I know a lot of people talk about that. You're there on the road at Ole Miss. Then you got at Memphis. So you're at Ole Miss, at Memphis, and then you come home to Notre Dame. Those three games have really caught me off guard with Alabama A&M, Arkansas State, and at Memphis, and then Notre Dame. I should say 4 games. Talk about playing Arkansas State. How has this never happened? How?
Yeah, it was department policy under Frank Broyles to not play in-state schools in any sport. Okay?
And he's been, I'm not being morbid.
07.
Coach Broyles hasn't been with us for how long now?
Yeah, his last year was 07. So
yeah,
Jeff
he passed away too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It was shortly after that. So Jeff Long came in and kind of took that and kind of continued that since it was right on the heels of Broyles. When Hunter Yurachek came in, baseball was the first one to break the cycle. They had UALR, University of Arkansas Little Rock, in 2019. They did a fall scrimmage at Little Rock, which only holds about 2,500 people, and it was packed to the hilt. And then they came back during the season. Now, baseball team has played all 4 in-state schools since then, okay? Arkansas played Pine Bluff last year at Little Rock, beat them 70-0 or whatever it was. And now Arkansas State under Butch Jones could cause a problem. Jalen Raynor's a really good quarterback, dual threat. Their RPO game is really good. And they played better as the season went on last year. They kind of were the antithesis of what Arkansas was. You know, they finished on an upswing rather than, just crawling across the finish line. So this may be the only time they play as well, okay? So little backstory. They're playing at War Memorial Stadium, which Arkansas has at least played one home game in every year, okay? This is the last year of that contract, okay? The Arkansas State faithful want to meet in the middle and play in Little Rock. Jonesboro is in Northeast, Arkansas in Northwest, meet in the middle. Arkansas is only going to play them in Fayetteville. They've made that known. Sam Pittman made that known, whether it had been at media days or his preseason press conference. So this may be the only time they play each other. And Arkansas State fans thinking, okay, they got to come down and do it. There's been an equal allotment of tickets, and it hasn't sold out yet. One, it's because of War Memorial Stadium. The concession stands run out. The bathroom facilities are bad. It's an old stadium without any upgrades. At the worst that the Liberty Bowl was, War Memorial was still worse. So, and that turns off a lot of fans, especially in the days of you can just pull it up on TV. So
right,
you may have 50,000 people there. It holds 55. So it needs to be, it may be one and done, but who cares? Just play the game and get over with it. I'm old enough to remember and have been around when they weren't playing anybody. Now they're playing everybody in state. So play it, get over it. Let Arkansas, they better win the game. That's all I got to say.
I hate to bring this up, but that War Memorial kind of sounds like what Legion Field used to be before Alabama quit going to Birmingham.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very, very true.
And I'm old enough to remember that, Ole Miss and State used to play some of their games in Jackson. Matter of fact, I saw the last two Egg Bowls there in Jackson back in the 80s. But also, Ole Miss and Tennessee would sometimes, and even Mississippi State, would sometimes play an SEC game in Memphis at the Liberty Bowl.
Arkansas played Ole Miss there at the Liberty Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Peyton Manning never got a trip to play in Oxford, where his dad became a legend and started the Manning name, because Ole Miss moved that game to Memphis. And so I was like, you're playing Tennessee in the state of Tennessee. I know this is only 45 minutes from your campus, but this makes no sense at all.
Yeah, luckily money has come back into the picture for everybody. So they're making smarter decisions when it comes to where you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's briefly stop talking about the schedule and go back to Arkansas and talk about the wide receiver position, and then also we will talk about the defense. But first, outside of Monte Harrison, what does the wide receiver position look like for Arkansas?
Yeah, they got Omega Blake out of the transfer portal. He's 6'2", 195. He's going to be their go-to guy. Could be. He's on the Blitnikoff, watch list along with, 100 other receivers, but he's been their most consistent guy. He's got the best hands, does a good job. Then you got C.J. Brown. He's a local guy. He's from Bentonville, right down the road from the campus of University of Arkansas. C.J. put on 15 good pounds of muscle. He's the fastest wideout. They did their catapult testing. He was about a 22.7 when it comes to, how they measure the speed. So that's about a 4.4 guy. So those are your outside guys along with Monte Harrison. Then you've got your inside receivers, Cam Shanks, who is a punt returner, All-American, and Raylan Sharp. Raylan Sharp came from the portal as well, 5'9", 165, 170, but he can phone booth. He's that kind of quick. And when I talk about Arkansas spreading the field horizontally on fly sweeps, jet sweeps, tunnel bubble screens, anything like that, he's going to be a big part of that game. So those are really your top five. Guys, remember this name. He may get on the field by game 4 or 5, but he'll work into the rotation. Antonio Jordan. Okay. He's from Warren, Arkansas. Traylon Burks, Greg Childs, Jarius Wright, a lot of, Arkansas royalty has come from Warren. He's 6'6", 234, and he runs like a spooked deer, can jump out of the gym, and if he figures out the playbook, he's going to be a guy that works in the rotation and has the potential to be a breakout star. Is he going to be as good as Burks? Who knows at this point, but he works hard. He knows how to work. Anybody that comes from Warren and played for Bo Embry does know how to work. So he's turned heads so far in camp. So those are really your top 6. Courtney Crutchfield came from Missouri in the portal. He was an Arkansas guy from Pine Bluff High School. Haven't really seen anything that's wowed me out of him, which didn't surprise me. He was a high school kid that may have, reached his potential already. But, they'll have to replace a lot of production, but they will.
Now let's get to the other side of the football, the defense. You talked about it briefly about the linebacker position in the first segment, but overall, what does the defense look like this year for Arkansas?
Yeah, they got to get better at pass defense. They gave up 246 through the air. That was 13th or 14th in the SEC, and then the 1-teens nationally. So they got bigger, at corner. Selman Bridges was a top 150 recruit 2 years ago in the 2023 class. He's going to start at one corner. Julian Neal, Connie Walker, those are a couple other guys. Larry Worth, the third, they moved from linebacker back to safety. He's 6'4", 230, 40-inch vertical leap, runs, gets downhill. He's going to be good. Jordan Young came from Cincinnati. He's going to play nickelback. So the back end could be the strongest, the back seven, because your linebackers, Xavier Story, and Steven Dix, they got to find a third and fourth guy. That's the key right now, or those linebackers are going to wear out. They're going to be dead at the end of the year. So they've developed a little bit of depth. I talked about Andrew Harris. He tackles, he runs through. He's like hitting a brick wall. He's kind of taking a step in the right direction. Problem is the defensive line. You got Cam Ball back. That's huge. He could have gone and made a ton of money in the portal, but he didn't. So he's going to be a big addition or be a key point on the defensive line. And everybody else, they've got unproven guys at those positions. Quincy Rhodes, Central Arkansas guy, has the speed, has the size, 6'6", 275. Looks like an SEC defensive end. Will he play to that potential? So they got to find a couple other ends. Justice Boone from Florida played well in the scrimmage over the weekend. Danny Salee, he's a transfer portal guy that came from Hutchinson County Community College 2 years ago, worked his way up. So they just got a lot of unproven on the front four. But if they can prove and get pass rush, they only had 26 interceptions last year, or 26 turnovers. They got to force more turnovers this year.
So, Kevin, hold that thought. We are up against our final break, and when we come back, we are finally going to continue to dive into the schedule and get your prediction of the Arkansas Razorbacks in 2025. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will finish it up with the expectations for Arkansas right after this. How would you like to live where you love in the state of Alabama? Whether it is you're upsizing, downsizing, retiring at the beach, or relocating for your job, then you are going to want to contact Celeste Hagler, owner of First Class Real Estate South Home Group, with brokers in Tuscaloosa, Orange Beach, and Huntsville. They can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Once again, that is 205-861-5698, and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals anywhere across the state of Alabama. Has it always been your dream to build the pond of your dreams, but you don't know if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond on? You need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because Jeff Bagwell will help you decide if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond. You can contact Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 799-0192. And hey, Jeff Bagwell can also order top quality automatic fish and hunting feeders for all of your outdoor recreation. Contact Jeff Bagwell today, once again at 205-799-0192, to help you build the pond or lake of your dreams.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harris, owner of Life Source Water. Do you know all Bay Area cities add chemicals like chlorine and chloramines to your tap water? At Life Source, we believe your water should support your family's health. Our whole house system delivers filtered water from every tap, even your showers. For 40 years, we've built our systems right here in California. Upgrade your water today by calling 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Life Source, taste and feel the difference.
Warranty limitations apply. Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100 100.9 app today.
The deals at South's Finest Meats just keep getting better and better, and this week through August the 12th, they have a great deal on Ziegler products, including 12 ounces of Southern-style smoked sausage, 2 for $6, 12 ounces of thick or regular sliced bologna, 2 for $5, 12 ounces of Jumbo Frank hot dogs, 2 for $5, or 24 ounces of Stack Pack sliced bacon, $7.98. They also have great deals on beef, chicken, and fish this week that run through August the 12th. Go by there today and check out some of the amazing deals at South's Finest Meats. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show, and now we are doing our Arkansas preview show, and now it's time to do a prediction on how Arkansas is going to do and navigate the schedule. Our guest this evening is Kevin Bohanna, writer for hogsports.com. And Kevin, when you look at the schedule, please navigate it for us and give us your prediction on how you think Arkansas is going to do this season.
Yeah, and the road games are just brutal.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So, yeah, in the SEC, I think somebody did a breakdown the other day of the top 20 toughest schedules or 4-game stretches. They did the worst 4-game stretches, and Arkansas was number 7 on that. So their toughest 4-game stretch, Notre Dame at Tennessee, Texas A&M, and then Auburn at home. So, you know how it breaks down. So I like to break the season into, thirds. Since It is 12 games, how you do in the first 4, middle 4, and the last 4. So in the first 4 games, they got Alabama A&M. That's a W. They'll beat Arkansas State. The problem is they play their first 4 games, they play in 4 different venues.
Right.
Okay. Their first SEC home game is October 18th.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Think about it. That's Texas A&M. So first 2 SEC games are on the road. That's a brutal stretch right there. You got Ole Miss and Tennessee, and then you got Texas A&M. So Texas A&M would have played a couple of home games already and be, pretty good situation. The good thing is they have the Darren McFadden ceremony that night. They're awarding the patch. They're not retiring the jersey, but anybody that wears number 5 will wear the patch this year. So, the first 4 games, you could look at them going 3-1 if they still Ole Miss at the Ole Miss. Jackson Dart's not there to throw for 500 yards, so that's a good thing. They'll be having a little bit of payback. 63-31 last year, and it wasn't that close, guys. It was bad. So they'll have a little bit of. They have to win Ole Miss or Notre Dame. They have to win one of those 2 games if they want a chance at a bowl game. So at Tennessee, you got to think that's a loss. I think they'll beat A&M, Auburn, and Mississippi State. So that'll be key right there. So if you say go 3-1 in your first 4 games, then you're at 6 wins after Mississippi State. And then if you can steal one at LSU, at Texas or Missouri in those last 3, you can get to 7-5, but I think 6-6 is more likely at this point.
Now, is that enough for Arkansas fans to be happy with Sam Pittman if he goes 7-6 again, or 7-5 in the regular season?
With this schedule, I think it will be.
Okay.
With the production that they had to replace last year, look, Andrew Armstrong was an all-SEC guy. He led the league at some point in yardage and in catches. So, and Isaac Teslaw is catching touchdowns for the Detroit Lions now. So you had to replace all your receivers. Your running back room was decimated pretty much. So you had to replace quite a bit. If you show progress, that's been the biggest thing with Sam Pittman. You have to show consistent progress. That first year he came in 3-7 in the COVID year, and then he went 8-4. You can't go like this and then go down. And so show consistent improvement. If they cut down on turnovers and can keep people in games, they'll have a chance to go 7-5. Like I said, I think they'll steal a game they're not supposed to win, like they did against Tennessee last year, and they have a chance to do that.
Kevin, I've asked everyone that's come on for these preview shows this question, so I'm going to ask you, when it comes to the offense, total team offense, do you think Arkansas will finish in the top half of the SEC or the bottom half of the SEC by season's end?
Top half. Easily.
And then looking at defense, will they finish in top half or bottom half?
Bottom half. Easily. Now, if they're towards the north end of the bottom half, you could be looking at 8-4. Because, if you're 9th or 10th in the SEC, that may bode well. But you can't be 14th, 15th, or 16th.
And looking at the whole setup, what games concern you the most heading into the season?
The Ole Miss game, because Arkansas and Ole Miss have had a good history in the past of playing close games. And then last year, it was like Pittman lost the team. And that was the game that people were really saying, all right, something needs to change. You cannot be this unprepared for a ball game and get blown out of the water at home. That was really kind of when the pitchforks really started coming out and the for sale signs really started, getting sent to Fayetteville. So, that Tennessee game is really crucial. And I hate to say it, but that Texas A&M game has always been the turning point for the season. Go back to KJ Jefferson's last year when they were playing at Jerry World, and he goes up, tries to dive from 5 yards out over the offensive defensive line, and they take it back 98 yards for a touchdown. Arkansas was up at that point. They ended up losing that game. The rest of the season was just up, and they lost to Liberty, and they just, it was just thud from there on out. So, at the middle of the season, that first home game is their third SEC game. That could be the turning point of them being 1-2, 2-1, or 0-3. So that's really crucial right there.
So, Kevin, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. This is the last year of the contract of Arkansas playing in Little Rock. To wrap this up, give us a couple of your fondest memories of Arkansas playing there in Little Rock at War Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I got a lot of them, guys, and I'll break down a couple. I saw Peyton Manning in 97. They beat Arkansas 30-21. That was the last year of Danny Ford. Arkansas was up in that game, okay? And then Houston Nutt came in, and they went on a run. Won their first 8 games of 98 before they lost to Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. The Miracle on Markham, which was 2002, Matt Jones to DeCorey Birmingham to send them to Atlanta. They beat LSU and Nick Saban 21-20. That's number one right there. And then 2008, they had Miracle on Markham too. They beat LSU. Casey Dick to London Crawford in the back of the end zone. I was in the end zone on both of those, which was really cool situation. So got to see both of those up close and personal. My very first game there was TCU, and TCU won that game. It was back in the early 90s. So, those are always going to be big standouts. Ole Miss beat them 17-3. I got to see the University of Miami. They beat Arkansas 31-3. I think that was 91. And I wore
watching that game.
Yeah, I wore a Miami jersey to that game because I was a big U fan back then.
Wasn't there a 99-yard touchdown pass by Miami in that game?
Yep.
I remember that game.
Gino Torretta to either Lamar Thomas or Horace Copeland. Lamar Thomas corrected me on Twitter one time about that. So, yeah. But, yeah, Torretta made a change at the line. He made an audible at the line, and the guy just ran a streak down the field and touchdown pass. It was Thomas.
99-yard touchdown pass. Yep. I remember seeing that.
Yep.
So, Kevin, look, man, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you for joining us for the Arkansas preview show, and we would love to catch up with you during the football season to talk a little Arkansas football.
Absolutely, guys. I always love coming on with you fellas.
Kevin, take care.
Let's go on ahead and do it together. Let's call the Hogs.
There we go.
Big Stevie, let's go, man. Thank you, buddy.
Oh.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, we had to do that.
Steven, you love calling the Hogs. You really do. You love doing it. Every time we mention it, you do it on the show.
You got to love the SEC, man. Come on.
You do. You absolutely do. That's why the show exists.
So, Heath, that is going to wrap up the Arkansas preview show there. Really do want to thank Kevin Bohanna for joining us from hogsports.com. And on Tuesday evening, when we come back tomorrow, we are going to be talking about the Florida Gators and DJ Lagway and Billy Napier down in Gainesville to see how they're going to do. Graham Hall of Gators 247 joins us for a deep dive into the Florida Gators, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Steven, do you always want to be a Mill cheerleader?
No.
I don't know, man. You like to call the Hogs. You do your chomps. You all about the hand movements. I bet you were a big Tiffany fan back in the day. She did all the hand dancing. Do you remember Tiffany from the 80s?
I don't.
Dude, go watch YouTube. Go watch Tiffany videos. She did her tours in shopping malls.
Yeah, okay.
El Camino Health, the standard of excellence, delivering compassionate care in the South Bay. For more than 60 years, we've been your first choice, helping you live your best life. From staying healthy to getting you back to what you live for. Every national recognition is a show of strength. Another success story, built on trust. We're the neighbor always here, for you and your family. El Camino Health, our strength, your health.